Alex Mullen to make it 3-1 in the grand final. Puts in the penalty and wins the grand final for Campbelltown City.
No one attacks it, comes back off the Fernandez. It's the goal! It's top! Oh! And then Talisman's got another one. Adelaide City back quick. Jake King, what a shot! My goodness me! Oh, can't teach that sort of stuff. Sends it in, keeps it low, and it's gone in! It's gone in! Adelaide Uni have scored in time added. Tries to get under control, and the shot from Tolland! Salisbury into a 2-0 up!
Still Butler with another chance, it's 2-1 to Playford! Persistence has paid off for Playford!
One touch to the keeper, puts it into the bottom corner. Beach gives him a shoulder after that as well. He's lost his clean sheet, and he's lost his head with a red card! David, this is massive!
To make the girls sing, and the geezers too, yeah, we're doing this thing.
Hello, it is, what is the date? It's the 16th of July. I should have checked that before. I'm Seb O'Neill, as always, joined by David Grant and Mark Talbot. And David, starting with you, what is your favourite lolly that you enjoy?
Currently, I'm going through a phase where I like the Coca-Cola flavoured lollipops on the edge of a stick. But, so lollies, not chocolate bars, just lollies. Yeah, and I used to like the little Coca-Cola bottles. I don't know if you got them in Australia, little Coca-Cola jelly lollies. You did get them here?
I think so.
Yeah, so off the top of my head, the Coca-Cola lolly things. I wonder what Alessio would say. Have you mentioned Alessio's not here?
Oh, no, I haven't yet. I was going to get to that.
Carry on.
Mark, your answer first.
Strawberry creams.
Strawberry cream. Strawberries and creams. Oh, okay.
Yep. Alan, strawberry and creams.
I think I would go between that and strawberry clouds. I reckon.
Oh, my kids love the clouds. But
They're good. They're good. Yes, Alessio is not here. He is busy, but he does have his pick and also his predictions later on in the show. So we'll play those when they do come. But for now, we'll start with us.
And your favorite lolly again? What was that?
Strawberry clouds.
Your Seb?
Yeah.
Oh, is that different from Mark?
Yeah, his is strawberries and cream.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought it was one thing.
No, completely different.
My fault. Carry on.
Perfect. Well, so coming off a big cup final weekend, me and David both involved. Mark, unfortunately, you were busy, so unable to be. But I think successful all around. And we got a few mentions. Did you notice that, David and or Mark, during the broadcast?
Oh, are you talking about individuals, but as a group?
As a collective, yes.
Oh, right.
No. I did watch the women's game, but I didn't get to catch the men's. So fill me in, Seb.
Well, I compiled our mentions to start off the show with. So this is a counter as well. How many times either we were mentioned or the title of our show was mentioned during either of the broadcasts on Saturday.
Turn your attention back to league business because you're on a high just now, right? You've probably forgotten all about the league for the day and maybe tonight, but how quickly do you reset and then start to look at the league again?
Well, we're going to go back to Kilburn tonight to celebrate, and I'll let them celebrate over the next couple of days, but we've always taken the approach of taking one game at a time, so we didn't talk about today until after last week's game, and we'll do the same for this week. So as soon as Monday ticks around, it's full steam ahead.
One game at a time. That's a good philosophy. Well done. All the best. Thanks. Cheers.
Thank you, David Grant. Thank you, Costa Yarich, and good to see Costa plugging the One Game at a Time podcast in that interview.
Now you've got the Australia Cup coming up. You've got a league campaign where you're top, and then you've got a final series to look forward to as well. People are going to start talking about treble and all this sort of stuff. How do you approach that moving forward and use this as a boost?
Well, we just take one game at a time, and that's sort of why we have a squad. We build a squad, so when the end of the season comes, we have these many games, the midweek games, that we can rotate players, and nothing changes. We still play the same way, so yeah, looking forward to it.
Thank you to both Christian and Hamish. One game at a time. That's gotten quite a run today in a few sayings, I think.
And then obviously the Australia League Cup, it's a one-off game, right? Anything can happen in this sort of game. So yeah, as long as we take it game by game, keep going, we only lost 2 games this season, so we're in good form as the season goes. So hopefully we can kick on and pick it all up, hopefully.
Game by game, and one game at a time.
You know, look, we've kind of worked on taking every game at a time at the moment, but you know, and we sort of just nullified that talk.
So one of them was me, to be fair enough, but still.
Oh, one was me.
Yeah, but okay, yeah, fair enough. So, but still quite a few.
Two weren't exactly one game at a time. It was close.
Yeah, I'll count them as I can. No, good to see it's catching on, and you know, it's entering people's regular vocabulary. But no, yes, it was very amusing every time I think it was said, and I think even when Costa said it, David, I saw a little smile come up on your face.
Yeah, it's not the first time he said it as well.
No, he said it last year in Johnny's the local games grand final show. I do remember. So
Yeah.
we'll see if it does come up again. Mark, I'll go to you for what your pick is.
Yeah, I hope you can remind me, but no, it's all good. So it's more Adelaide United based, but it does have a big impact on our local league here in the fact that Zach Clough has decided to move on. He's now signed for a club in Malaysia, which is great news for him, sad news for Adelaide United supporters, because I really liked the way he played, and I thought he'd really do well this year like he did last year. So a bit sad that he's moving on, but the impact is that it now allows another Adelaide United youngster to step up and take the opportunity that comes along with a player like Zach leaving. So I said it does impact us locally, because the likes of Amlani Tattoo, Ryan White, just two off the top of my head, who are probably expecting to have a lot of things, a big season for them this year. So I think, like I said, sad news that he's leaving, but great news for those young players up and coming who now have got a small window of opportunity that if they take can become massive. And that leads into my next step. We've seen it in the past where one small window can make a massive step, and that is Nestoria Nkunda has signed for Watford from Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich very cleverly here have effectively, I was reading somewhere that they've effectively loaned him out for 4 million to Watford, because they've got a 50% sell-on clause and a buyback option. So for me, it's almost like a loan deal where they're just going to go, let's see how he goes, and then if we need to, we'll just bring him back effectively. So great move for him. Hopefully regular game time before the World Cup. He's gone to London, which is obviously a lot of Aussies live there anyway. English speaking makes it easier to settle. So great news for him. But like I said, just another add-on knock-on effect from what happens when Adelaide United move players on, sell players, and so forth. So good news there for local, and hopefully Adelaide United and the Raiders will also get a bit of a kick on from the Nestori sale.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of Aussies in the championship, mostly at Portsmouth. One at Swansea, just to plug that. But no, very good seeing. Yeah, plenty of Aussies going over there in England at the moment as well. Over in the UK, I think in general, which is really good to see. Speaking of the greater UK, David, not that does anything with your pick. It's more just to do with you as a person. But yes.
Yeah, more Australians in the UK. That's what we need. If we're not in our working in our pubs and our leisure centres, they're taking our positions on a football field. That's actually quite a racist thing to say in this day and age, isn't it? You know what I mean? I say it all in jest. No, I think it's great. Just to back on what Mark's saying there, I think it's great. It's great that they get those opportunities over there. You know, an Australian playing in the UK was a very rare thing. If you go back to my teenage years, and there's loads of them there now, and I think it's a great thing. And Zach Clough going, I think, just opens the door for all those promising youngsters coming through that we're only playing sort of 20 minutes coming on as substitutes. But to my picks, I've got 3 this week. I'll go in the order I sent them through to you and Seb. The first one being the scaffold at the Cove. Well, what a fine example of workmanship this is. Couldn't believe it. We didn't get to use it though, did we? But look at the state of that. Absolutely brilliant. Base plate, sole plate, standards, ledgers, transoms, and bracing. Platform and decking as well. Up the top there, the cameraman's covered. And his, if you notice, the main post there is set back, so the camera has a clear view. They've opted for a flat base instead of an angle flat ribbed or spigot. Of course, we noticed that as well when we were there. And the couplers are all in perfect and working order and very clean looking. They use right angle couplers, swivel couplers, 5K embrace cutless as well, I noticed too, and not a single bit of rust, and it looked very solid. Nice clean stairs up to the top, and the sign did say, authorized persons only, and I didn't feel I fitted that category at that point in time, but I cast a glance up to that little platform. They've even got the synthetic grass laid down on the top where the camera operator goes, and protected from the wind by that tarpaulin that goes around the side. Just imagine all of that, and I couldn't remember the word for tarpaulin, but I can't wait till they get up into the NPL and we get to commentate at that ground. Might even try and get there before the end of the season, see if we can just stay at League One game there. Seb, you've got your hand up. You want to ask a question, don't you?
I have two questions. I thought I was with you almost the entire night. So when did you go to take those photos? And the second thing, when did you become such a fan of scaffolding?
Oh, scaffolding and me goes right back. Ever since I worked in a guardrail working platform ties factory, I've always had a keenness in it. I've always been into cup locks, frames, tubes, and clamp scaffolds as well. So, and had a keen interest in sockets or universal jacks. So it's just one of those things that I've maybe just never mentioned to you. And I took the photo as I went back to the car at the end of the day. I left a little bit earlier than you guys because I was tired.
Okay, continue then.
Second one is Benny Mackay-Brindle, the Adelaide Hills Hawks goalkeeping coach, mentor, and all-round good guy, giving blood this week. This is something that Benny does on a regular basis, but there was a special occasion for him this week. It was the 100th time that he had donated, and there's a little post there. Well done to you, Ben. I certainly doff my bonnet to you. It's a very commendable thing to do, and you should be very proud of yourself. I have been personally affected by blood donations. It's something that kept a relative of mine alive for a while, and you are doing a wonderful thing there, so well done. Very proud of you, Benny. So that's my second one. And my third one is, as much as we were enjoying the women's cup final, Seb, you and I couldn't attend to the men's. I had a ticket for the rugby, and I went off to Adelaide Oval to watch the British Lions absolutely maul the Australian and New Zealand combination team. But there was some women's quarterfinal action in the community leagues as well. So I just wanted to give them a mention. Very quickly run through the results in there. Flinders from Div 2 lost 8-1 to Pembroke, who are top of Division 1. This is the Division 1, 2 and 3 Cup. FC Summit, the lowest ranked side left in that competition, overcame Gan from Division 1. They won that game 4-2, goals from Ash Hancock, Maddie Lipscomb and Tina Cantwell on a very wet Sunday afternoon up here in the hills. Flinders from Div 1 beat Sacred Heart 6-0, a hat-trick for Mav Stiffel and a goal each for Rebecca Adams and Siobhan Curran. And West Adelaide, who have a Division 1 side, beat Playford from Division 3 3-1, 2 goals for Zamda Omba, and a goal from a young up-and-coming star, Poppy Stoltz, who also happens to be my cousin's daughter. So the quarterfinals, that's them done. They move into the semi-finals now. West Adelaide, who are 5th in Division 1, will now play Pembroke for a spot in the final, and FC Summit from Division 2 will play Flinders. And just very quickly, it was also the quarterfinals for Division 4, 5 and 6 in the Women's Community Cup. Para Hills West from Division 4 beat Salisbury United from Division 5 3-1. Southern Breakers, this was a cup set. Southern Breakers from Division 5 beat Pembroke Old Scholars from Division 4. All 4 goals scored by Laura Hillison-Perrott. And Parafield Gardens from Division 4 beat Old Cardine Collegians from Division 5 8-0. 4 goals from Emma Phillips in that game. And finally, the last quarterfinal, Elizabeth Downs travelled to Pulteney from Division 6. Elizabeth Downs from Division 4 and won that game 3-1. 2 goals from Matika Hilliard-Faulkner, who's also their captain. Don't say we don't cover all of the leagues, Seb. Never let that be said. There you go. There's your rundown of the Women's Community Cup quarterfinals, done and dusted.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, David. And just going back to the scaffold as well, one of our own saying the scaffold is absolutely gorgeous. So thank you for that, Simon. We all agree.
I know it's good. We're all going to be clamoring to get ourselves down there. I know it's just going to happen. We're all going to be in a big line saying, Mr. Betterman, put me on there, put me on there. It was just terrific. You should see it. Have you seen it, Mark?
No, I haven't actually. Believe it or not, I'll see it this weekend. My boys in the under 10s are playing there.
You have.
I've been to the Cove. I just haven't seen the scaff yet. But I'll actually be there Sunday morning with my under 10s. We're playing Cove at Cove, so I will have a look at it this Sunday. So,
There is one negative, I think, but it's not the issue of the scaffold. It's where the scaffold faces into the sun, apparently, when the sun's going down. And I have seen a couple of games. It's quite hard to watch. So it'll be a night game for me or a very early morning match.
Perfect. Well, finally, he's not here in person, but he is here in spirit, and he is here through the power of pre-recording. So we'll go to Alessio for what his pick is, and I'm going to guess that he is in a car. Do we agree that he's probably in his car?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Let's
in a park.
How you going, lads? Sorry I can't be there tonight. I've got a work council meeting that I have to attend to in the hills here. But otherwise, my pick of the week for you guys watching would be Dennis Bakai leaving Eastern United officially. They had a statement put out and they concluded some of his stats there as well, which are just ridiculous for what comes to be one full season in the State League 2. I mean, he came halfway through last year and he leaves halfway through this year. And yeah, his goal record, his assist record, it's going to be up there with some of the best ever return rates in the league. I mean, I remember seeing Dimitri Pepas' stats a couple of years ago, and he was talking about Fausto Urba. His goal scoring, goals to game ratio was ridiculous. I think when he puts this one through at the end of this year for the stats that Dennis has got, I think he could top him. Yeah, and there's the likes of your Matricianis, your Anthony Costas, those type of guys who scored ridiculous amounts of goals in such little time. Corey Artone as well. Obviously, Damien Murray, etc. So I think he's going to have one of the best return ratios we've ever seen in this league, and we hope him all the best in Italy. Yeah, that's my pick of the week. A big loss for the State League 2 and for even our league in general in the all three divisions. You never know where he could have gone. Apparently, he did decline some offers from the MPO and State League 1. And we'll yet to see if Eastern do make it to State League 1 this year. But yeah, a big loss. And he doesn't top my list for the best player I've ever played against, because that would have to be my idol, Michael Moroney, when I played him in pre-season, a game when I played Sturt against in pre-season when I was playing for Salisbury in a pre-season friendly. But yep, he's my favourite player and the best one I played against. So unfortunately, Dennis has not nabbed that category, but he's definitely probably the best player I played in my division, of course, for sure. I probably have him and obviously Josh Coyne as the top two that I've played against in the division. But yeah, a big miss for the league, but hopefully the start of a big journey for him. And we could see him play against some Australians that are in and around those divisions as well. And yeah, we'll hopefully continue to see how he goes.
Thank you for that, Alessio. He will come back a little bit later with his predictions for our chosen games, but still always good to see him when he can't be here in person. We do love Alessio, and I think he knows that too. Perfect. All right, we will move on to our next part of the show. Oh, what? I never expect it, but somehow there's another knock at the door. It's not my door.
Mark, must be yours.
I'll get this one because I actually know one of them, so I'll get this one. Come on in, boys.
The lazy door.
I have, yeah. So we've got George Agalidis and Domenic Tripodi from Port Adelaide Pirates.
Thank you to the both of you for joining us. Very much appreciated, as are all our guests. First question, as always, to the both of you, I ask all our guests your footballing journey up to where you are now, pretty much from like the first time you ever kicked the ball to now. George, we'll start with you.
This could take a while.
Thanks, Seb. I'll try and keep it brief, but the years are ticking on. So just on behalf of myself, Dom, and the Port Adelaide Soccer Club, thank you for having us on and for all the work you do with the local game. So pretty much in a nutshell, I played all my juniors from under 10s for 3 years right up to under 17s at what was then West Adelaide Soccer Club before the liquidation occurred in the late 90s. After that, as a 15-year-old, I made a decision to sort of get out of the Greek community scene and ended up at Western Strikers. One of my junior coaches, Nick Panzaris, was the first team coach there, and they were a sort of young and emerging club. Worked out pretty well for me. I'd made my debut as a 15-year-old in 2001, and then was a regular from 2002. 3 seasons at first team seasons at Western Strikers. I decided to make the move into First Division football, the Premier League as it was known, when there was only 2 leagues, and I went to Enfield City, which is now, after a series of amalgamations, Adelaide Atletico. So I played NPL there. The side was a lot of talent, but we just couldn't put it together. We were relegated. And then I made a wonderful career move to the Adelaide Comets, who'd just come out of the amateur leagues. The federation had adopted a 3-tier system. And I joined Adelaide Comets in 2007 in this, what is now State League 2. I worked with the then first team coach, Dougie Patterson, who some of you might remember. And he was very insistent on my coming along, and the club, Adelaide Comets, showed a lot of ambition from very early on in their federation journey. So I was one of a number of signings in 2007, and we won we finished first in the first past the post series. We came top of the State League 2 and gained automatic promotion to State League 1. We were one of those clubs. We almost did the double jump. We were top, probably about 3/4 of the way through the season, but then a series of injuries saw us lose key players. We limped into the finals and went out in straight sets. And then in 2009, we made the finals again. We fared a little better. We won an elimination final, but lost one of the semi-finals. I was fortunate enough in 2009 to be appointed as one of the captains of the Adelaide Comets. So that was a tremendous honour at the age of 23. In 2011, ended up signing for Adelaide Olympic. We made in what is now State League 1. I was actually there with Mark Talbot. There's a couple of old photos getting around, some squad photos where he and I are together. And if you remember Talbs, we made a wonderful run. Again, after being sort of towards the bottom of the ladder for the first half of the year, we went on a massive run, won 6 of our last 7, won our 2 knockout finals, and just fell short in the prelim, and we were 1 game away from automatic promotion. There was a lot of change and instability at Adelaide Olympic then. So Derek Hall, from the old Port Adelaide coach, reached out to me and offered me an opportunity there. So that's how I came to be a Pirate. And, without knowing any of the guys there, only having played against them, the likes of Kieran McFadgen, the captain and 5-time best and fairest winner, James Skeffington, arguably one of the best attacking players of that era, and the ever reliable and consistent James Coley. I was able to team up with them, and along with the Mavromatis brothers, Ross Gray, Talbot, Ryan Mitchell, and others, Michael Mastropalo, we ended up putting a pretty formidable squad together. And after coming close on a couple of occasions in 12 and 13, we ended up winning, coming first in the State League in what was then a 15 or 16 team State League. So we did it the hard way. We did it the traditional way, and very much reminiscent of the European League's 30-game season, and we came out on top. So a wonderful highlight in my career personally, and to share that with all those boys was something really special. We got promoted to the NPL as a result of winning the State League. So we were promoted to the NPL in 2015. As a playing group, we made a strong commitment to one another to take our game to the next level on and off the field. We did a lot of our own work in pre-season, and we took our aerobic base and fitness to another level, and we were really ready to compete and give it everything. Unfortunately for me, I succumbed to a knee injury. So after playing a couple of pre-seasons games, I was unable to contribute in that season. And at the age of 30 and after a couple of 100 games, I had to pretty much make the decision to retire. So look back on my playing career with great fondness, and memories that I'll cherish forever, and friendships that'll last a lifetime. After a couple of years out of the game, a young family, a demanding professional working career, Theo Tsounis, who was head coach at Adelaide Comets in the NPL, and a former teammate of mine, he reached out to me and invited me back to the club to head up to head up their amateur teams in the collegiate league. Now, I hadn't had any involvement in amateur football. I really didn't know what the collegiate leagues were at the time. But I thought that was a tremendous opportunity for me to dip my toe into the world of coaching without having to make all the sacrifices that come with coaching at a higher level. So I really liked the idea that I could be at an NPL club and stake my claims there and set myself up without having all the demands and all the scrutiny and all the analysis that comes with being in a federation team. So I treated that, though, as a federation job. I treated my approach and the way I conditioned my squad and the way we prepared and everything, I kept it to the standards that I knew, and that was reminiscent of a federation squad. The collegiate arm of the Adelaide Comets was about to be disbanded. The board had actually voted unanimously to disband that arm of the club. It wasn't financially viable. A lot of players had decided to move on, so there wasn't a real playing base to retain, and the club was heading in a more professional direction with its NPL and WNPL teams. But it was probably the only time in the club's 30-year history where the president, Jim Suvalas, vetoed the board, and he made an executive decision to retain the collegiate arm of the club as a second pathway, men's pathway, for club boys that would either not be able to progress to the first team or were pursuing studies or work or whatever it was, and they'd prefer an amateur environment. So it was retained as an alternative pathway to retain club people. And my mandate was pretty clear, just, do a full rebuild, and immediate success wasn't on the cards, but just to re-engage the football community, rebuild that arm of the club, and just make it sustainable for the Adelaide Comets. We're pretty fortunate in our first year. We after a slow start again, we actually finished second in Div 2 of the Collegiate League after having been relegated the year before. So we got promoted against all expectations in our first year. In 2019, we were able to sign a few more players. We're looking really healthy in the pre-season, but we're decimated with injuries. In the end, we had a very solid season. We finished fifth, and we were amongst sort of the top, just off the pace of the leading pack. We consolidated well. And then 2020, the COVID year, after some interruptions, all the leagues reconvened in May. I personally was really concerned about preparing a squad to essentially get fit and do a pre-season in a colder autumn or winter month. I was really concerned about that. So I put down the challenge to my playing group. I said, boys, we can do our 2 nights a week and we'll be okay. We'll compete, and we might finish third or fourth, and we'll give a good account of ourselves. But I said, if you really want to make something of this year, we need to do a bit extra. And I gave them some instructions of what I would like to have seen as head coach. And my captain at the time took it upon himself. He started a Strava running group, and within 48 hours, we had about 25 players join that group. So they were all doing their own work outside. And that really yielded wonderful results. And we were crowned Division 1A champions of the Collegiate League in 2020. A tremendous highlight, and just a wild experience. I was meant to transition into the NPL arm of the Adelaide Comets with one of the coaching in 18s reserves or senior assistant, whatever it would be. But again, I probably felt like I needed a break, and my young son my son Vangeli was starting his football journey. So without leaving the club in the lurch, I said, look, as a gesture of goodwill and good faith, I won't be able to coach in the NPL setup, but I'll tell you what, I'll coach one of my son's under 16s. So the last 4 years have been a wonderful joy sharing that with my son, watching him grow and his love for the game. And all the boys that I've had, I was lucky enough I have Con Antonio, the NPL coach, his son is in that squad, who is also coincidentally the president's grandson, and some other people that I grew up with, having the opportunity to nurture young boys and watch them grow so rapidly was really rewarding. But at the end of last year, I decided probably to have a break in total, and I'd like my son to probably learn from someone else. So I decided to take a break, and I was really enjoying it, to be honest. But the president of the Collegiate League came out, and there's the annual tournament that the Collegiate League competes in with the two Sassel Select squads from Saturday and Sunday in a round robin tournament on the June long weekend. So I was no longer affiliated to any club in the Collegiate League, so I was seen as a neutral, but with someone with strong ties to that league. So I was asked to lead the Collegiate Select side in the Amateur Select tournament that took place on the June long weekend. And you know what, that was a lot of fun. We were able to use Adelaide Comets as a base. I was able to pick players from all different clubs. I would go out and watch games as a neutral, and it was a lot of fun, I guess. Maybe a bit akin to being a national team coach. But again, players are picking up injuries, in their league fixtures. Some players had made other commitments and they couldn't make it. But look, on that day, the results didn't go our way. But I thought we gave a really good account of ourselves, and all the boys should be really proud and hold their heads high. In my coaching staff for that tournament was a collegiate guy, Troy West, a collegiate legend who our kids go to school together. He was team manager. But my assistant coach was James Skeffington from Port Adelaide. He was a bit involved in the collegiate setup, but he's also director of football for the men's federation set up at Port. And, always loving Port from afar, getting out to games when I could, and just wanting to see the team win, rain, hail or shine. Didn't matter who was playing or coaching or whatever, just always wanted what was best for the club. And so I'd been out to a couple of games as an interested spectator, but the club had made some decisions, and they reached out to me. The club made a call for help, and I answered that call. So not even 3 weeks now, I was appointed as head coach of Port Adelaide in the State League Two North Conference as interim coach for the remainder of the year. So it is a tremendous honour to lead the state's oldest club and a club so rich in history and tradition. And we've got 5 games to go. We'll be taking it one game at a time, and hopefully we can make a late run into the finals.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. Really fascinating. And the plug always as appreciated. And Dom, for you, I guess, your journey, how you've sort of gotten to Port Adelaide now, and just sort of what you're enjoying around the club as well at this moment in time too.
So won't be as long as Aga, but I started my footballing career at Croydon Kings Polonia. That was a junior setup. Started when I was 5 or 6, bled through to senior setup when I was about 14, 15. And from there, I went to Italy for a small stint with Blue Eagles, come back, had a couple of seasons with Adelaide City. That was when the Federation Cup, or the FFA Cup came in, and we famously beat Western Sydney Wanderers. I was around the club then. Then I left Adelaide City seeking more senior football, so joined Bacala in 2017. Part of the Resi's Cup Fed final there. We won that. Then was in 2018 was my first year at Port Adelaide. That's where I saw and fell in love with the culture there. Spent 1 season there, but then I returned back to Berks, which is where I had some individual success in the State League, for the State League 1 reserves, Player of the Year back to back. From there in 2021, decided to go back to Port Adelaide and had much success there as a team. We were promoted to State League 1. Famously, on the last day, we needed a result. We needed a favour from Seaford. They got the result against Uni, in which saw us get promoted. From there, went to Western Strikers in 2022, which I did my knee as a slight partial tear in my ACL 6 rounds in. I took the opportunity to look forward in my footballing career, which would be coaching, which is something I want to do later on. So went and got my C license, and I was blessed enough that at the time, Blanco and Mario Caruso had me as their assistant for the senior setup, and we made a grand final in 2022. Didn't get promoted, unfortunately. We lost that, but in 2023, we played again. We got promoted by making the grand final, and we played, I believe, Salisbury, who finished first. And from there, I left Western Strikes and I come back to Port in 2024, and here I am now, named proud captain for this season, and hopefully for a long time until I end up finishing. But at this point in time, I hang my head high, given the honour role of being captain for this historic club, and given what's happened in the recent history, we move forward, and we're looking forward to the remainder of the season and getting us back on track.
Absolutely. Perfect. I guess another one for me, you are probably one of the teams as well, probably one of the newer facilities in the competition across, I think, all leagues. I think your facilities are only maybe 5 or 6 years old, I guess. How does that compare to, I guess, other clubs who may have older / aging facilities, whether it be pitches, club rooms, change rooms, all that sort of thing, and now Port Adelaide, where you probably, as I said, one of the newest ones. Dom, we'll start with you this time.
I really enjoy, obviously, new facilities and setups and that kind of stuff. It's obviously a luxury to have, but I do quite miss the traditional clubs like the old Polonia on South Road, how they had had that set up with the hill, had the cars reversed up on the hill as well. That was quite good. Something similar like Para, they've got a nice setup there. Martin, very traditional like that, but the new facilities that every club are getting is obviously a moving forward thing, so it's good. So it's something like a luxury, like I said before, so it's great. And Port, we've got some magnificent facilities in the sense we've got 2 back pitches, we got the club rooms right in the center where you can see the back and front, and then the main pitch is great, and it's a nice setting, especially with the sunset in the preseason. You know, it's quite a nice setting. But yeah, our facilities are great.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess, yeah, George, for you as a coach, how much does it help you, I guess, improve your own coaching philosophy and sort of the way you work? How does that help you?
Yeah, I think there's the old saying that a tradesman is only as good as his tools. And hearing Dave speak earlier, he could probably talk to that a bit better than I. But look, I think when you have a place of work or a place of purpose that is of high quality, I think it's really good for your motivation levels, and it's something where you're happy to come, roll up your sleeves, put some work in, and even spend some time after. The facilities are first class out at Taparoo. You know, the main pitch standing alone and being grass, I think, is a luxury now that is sort of being lost on modern generations, given the advent of synthetic pitches. But yeah, and I think as well, the club rooms that Dom touched on, not only are they beautiful to look at, but they are full of history and tradition. All the old photos honouring the legends of the last 120 years, it really is a special place.
Yeah, absolutely. It has been good to see as well in the past. I think whether you've had games broadcasted there, even like when Adelaide United have played there in friendlies, it's been really good to see, especially when it's nice packed in full. I'll put it out to Mark and David as well. I guess, Mark, I'll let you sort of, because this is a former club of yours, one of many, I should say, but I'm sure you have a few questions and a few things to say as well, even about your experience at Port Adelaide. How have you found it? A question to you even, Mark.
Look, I was lucky enough to play many games at the old Port Pirates ground on Swan Terrace, and that's something that I think the club, and this is a sort of a question as well to Dom and Aga, in the fact that I think Port have done a really good job in trying to capture the atmosphere they had at the previous ground, which they still use. It had so many memories. It had a lot of character and I know for a fact they're trying to do their best to recapture that at the new place, and that sort of leads on to what Don was saying earlier about he loves the club and the character that it has and things like that. And my question sort of to them guys is, how have you gone about trying to recapture? Because again, you were there at the old ground as well. Do you guys still play Chase the Ace on a Thursday night? Do you still do some of those things at the old club? Do you still try and promote what was at the old club? Because I know they brought a lot of the history with them. How have you found that side of things in the new venue?
I might throw to Dom to this one to answer first.
Yeah. So I've experienced obviously a bit more than Aga, especially the transition from John Hart to new facilities at Taparoo, where we had our final season in 2018 at Taparoo, at John Hart, and then obviously ventured in 2019 to Taparoo. So basically getting all the old photos, all the old historic stuff that we had there and moving it into our new Taparoo facilities wasn't so hard, but it was what we were limited to do being a council-owned property. But one thing that we have done is we've made effort to put each and every photo that we've got of clubs, of the squads of every year that we've got back on the wall, make it more like a homey kind of feel. In the change rooms, Coley made the move to print out an honorary roll system kind of thing, where up on top of the change rooms, you've got players that have played 100 games for the club and their names with their honour badge in there as well. So that gives it, kind of a first team and honour feel. So if you're part of the senior first team, you're privileged to be in there. As well as, Thursday nights we still play Chase the Ace. We get that going. That's something that hasn't died, and we continue to play that 100%. We've even got a pool table as well, the table tennis. There's quite a few things that we've got going, and we make an effort to stay back. I'll vouch for myself and Jordan Figueroa. We're normally the last ones out, still standing in the car park at 11 p.m. because we're the last to leave. That's our Thursday night thing. We like to leave last, and that's the club culture that we've kind of gotten. We've driven, and there's quite a few boys that still do it. So it's a credit to the club that started that, and we continue it. And
Aga, yourself, how have you? Obviously, only a few weeks back at the club, but into the new venue. What have you seen from the old days when we were at John Hart and to now?
Yeah, very, very different, as is often the case with progress, but the core values and fundamentals remain unchanged. Off the field, Port Adelaide is in a tremendously strong position. Dom mentioned James Coley, former player. He's now the president. His wife, Beck Adams, is the treasurer, and former player James Skeffington is, technical director of men's football. There's also Stefan Kulacheris, who's on the board, whose father was quite a prominent figure at Port Adelaide in their glory years in the 1990s when they were a Premier League powerhouse. making grand finals in 94 and 99. So I think, and the boys themselves, the playing group, to me, very unified. Despite the challenges we've faced in terms of results recently, the boys are very unified. There's great camaraderie. There's a lot of belief, and so I think that's unchanged. I think one thing that's always been a strength at Port is, and I know a lot of clubs say this, but I'm not necessarily sure actions always align, words always align to their actions. But all the players are of really good character. I'm trying to avoid using a profanity, but I think they know such and such policy, and that's very much in force at Port Adelaide. A great bunch of boys, honouring the legacy of the past, and very much setting the foundation for the future. So off the pitch, the club's tremendously placed, run by not only football people but professionals as well. There's great diversity in the board. Over half of the board are women. They've resurrected the women's teams within Port Adelaide. Junior numbers are strong, And I think we had a quiz night last week. I saw guys like, Jace Cummins coaching a junior team at Port Adelaide. Lee Robertson, the old Metro Stars champion, he's there. And other guys from other clubs, they who live in and around the port, Terry Westwood, Carl Mazza. There's a really strong footballing community there. Bill Missalidis, junior technical director, one of, Port Adelaide's greats from the 90s as well. So, it's a little different being at a new home, but it's very much pulling in the right direction, and I like, even in my short time, I like what I see.
It's a testament to the club itself to be able to have people like Carl Mazza, Lee Robbo. I know Rob Groth, who used to be at Salisbury there as well. It's a testament to show, and the likes of obviously James Coley, Skeffington still sticking around and doing their bit, and actually past player, the inaugural past player best and fairest winner, Billy Missalidis. We played in a game a couple of years ago for that, last year, the year before, involved with the club as well. It just shows testament to what the club has done in the past, what they're trying to now achieve in the future. And I just think they're all on an upward trajectory in the fact that they've also got a massive pool of players that they can pull on in that area, because Taparoo is obviously getting larger with all the new buildings that are going on up out there and whatnot. So it's a really exciting time for Port. And Dom, I think it's a great opportunity for someone like yourself as a captain to really take the club forward. And I know you'll be looking forward to it, but I'm very keen to see how you and the boys progress, not only this season, but moving into next season and the year after.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like you touched on there. It's no perfect time like now, and I'm very honoured and privileged to be taking this role as senior captain. I definitely look up to good friend of mine, James Skeffington, and how he leads and how he leads. But you're definitely right, hit the nail on the head. Taparoo's only getting bigger. Port's on an upwards trajectory, especially from where we've been to where we're at. And being the oldest club in the state, in the land, more or less, what more of an attraction would you want? Young group, aspiring group, great team, great club. It's no time like now.
Now, I hope, Dom, you're going to be there nice and early this week coming up. And I know Aga will be, because I'm sure he's going to be involved somehow. But you get to see some of those players that will be up on that wall in those change rooms, the likes of Coley, Skeffington, McFadden, just to name a couple that I know that will be there. And obviously, the man, the myth, the legend that is Colin Agalidis will be pulling on a shirt this weekend before your game in a past players game.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll definitely be there early to get a keen eye on what's how they hold up and what talent they've still got with them. And that's another thing as well, getting the State League One Player of the Year twice, that's the Len Agalidis Award. It's a good honour and it's a good thing that's attached to Port Adelaide as well. So good to see Agalidis kick the ball around at the club again.
Yeah, well, he won't do much running, so...
No, he won't.
Are you guys aware that Mark plays in more former players' matches than current players play in a regular season?
What would that stat be? How many games does past player and whatnot?
I'm only at, hang on, 1, 2, 3. I think I'm only at 3 or 4. So that's all right. I can handle that. This will be 5, I think, this weekend. That's all good. I don't know if it goes to my official count, though.
Domenic, sorry. Do you know where you're playing, Mark? Positionally?
Yeah, at Taparoo. Oh,
no.
I have no idea.
You don't even know if will you be in goal or will you be out in the field?
No idea. No idea. I'll take my gloves, and if they want me to play in goal, I'll play in goal. If not, I'll play in the park.
Mark, we spoke last week. How did we progress with the GoPro and roving mic ideas?
Good point. Actually, Seb, you're on that. I need your help with the GoPro and a roving mic. All right.
Okay. All right, David, we'll go on to you now.
Yeah, look, I was just going to touch on the weekend coming up and ask Domenic. I'm aware that you're a wee bit pressed for time, so just quickly, you've got Northern Demons coming up this weekend. You're on a little bit of a losing streak, but so are they. top four finals, right? That's the top four for State League 2. It's such a convoluted final series, but you're actually only 3 points off fourth place, with Salisbury Inter now having been deducted a number of points for the incident they had in their game with Gan. But going into the Northern Demons game, you must feel a sense of positiveness as you go into a game against a side that's also had, poorer form over the last few weeks as well. I suppose they're looking at it the same way. But going into this game, what are your thoughts as you look ahead over the sort of final few games of the league's home and away season?
As every week, I look forward to match days all the time. But I look forward to there's no game I don't go into thinking we can't win this game. I definitely believe we can win this game. We've got the Waterman this season. We've beaten them twice. We've gone up there. They've come up to us and we've beaten them. Leading up into the last few games of the season, it's crucial what we can do. Yes, we've been on a bit of a rough patch the last 5-6 weeks, but that doesn't mean we're not playing an unattractive brand of football. Doesn't mean that we're under pressure at all. No, we just got to go out one game at a time and do our job. And I've got full confidence in the club and the boys that we're going to get the job done.
Yeah, good.
And sorry, David, go on.
On you go. No, on you go, Mark.
No, I was just going to say before Dom leaves, but you go. You got another question? Go for it.
Well, I was going to jump back to George and just ask him. I noticed that in your in a little article that I'd read that you'd done some coaching at Adelaide High School. So I was just going to ask about that. Was that as a PE teacher, if you like, or was that sort of something you did additionally? And how did it compare to coaching at a club?
Look, that was just as an old scholar returning after graduating year 12 while I was at university. So that was just, I think, probably something to fatten up that article from the media person that comments at the time. But if we'll get back to the sort of the game at the weekend, I just want to echo Dom's sentiments. Results aside, we only focus on what's in front of us. And I've been really impressed with the playing group's level of resilience and the ability to sort of deal with, the weight of expectation and, the desire to want to win is there. We've trained hard. For me, success is determined in the preparation. We've had 3 really good weeks on the track. Since I've taken over, the boys have done everything I've asked of them, and I have every confidence that, as is the Port Adelaide way, success is only around the corner. So we just all have to believe and rock up game day to play our best football, and nothing else matters. And I've really reiterated that to the boys. Free yourself of the burdens and the weight of expectation. I'll put that on my shoulders. You let me worry about results and anything off the pitch. I just want you boys to go out there and play freely, give everything you've got, and play with a smile on your face. So looking forward to what should be a great occasion on Saturday, and 3 points as we get our season back on track.
Geez, George, I feel like I want to come out and play for you now after that.
We the roster had closed on the first week that I was there, David. Had I known, I would have left the spot open for you, mate, and slotted you in for a cameo.
I'm about 30 years past my prime.
Mark,
I was just going to say, Dom, I know you need to quickly leave. So I was just going to say, I hope you enjoy the family that are over from Italy at the moment. And also, I hope you're sticking around Saturday for just to bring your money. All right, because last time the past players were there, we stayed late and we probably played cards way too long. So just be prepared. We were only ones left, actually. Last time we were there, all the players had already left, and it was just the past players still. So bring your money, but enjoy tonight and catching up with the family.
Absolutely, will do. Not a problem at all. I'll keep my eyes on you guys with your little tricks. No worries.
Thank you to both of you, George and Dom. Thank you so much for joining us. Very much appreciated. Good luck for the weekend. Hope you guys do great. And it sounds like the club's in a great place at the moment. So thank you again for joining us.
See you boys on Saturday.
Thank you so much.
All the best.
Thank you.
Thank you to the both of them. Very, very good chat. As always with all our guests. All right, we'll move on to the past weekend. Actually, I will just mention as well before we move on, Adelaide United played some friendlies. We were at the Cove on Friday, as previously spoken. David, just to sort of touch on that, a very nice evening was had there. They were very lovely to us. We filmed a video which went out, which has done really well, I guess. Yeah, it was a great night out, wasn't it, David?
Yeah, thoroughly enjoyed it. And I mentioned a couple of times when we were down there that I had played against the Cove's first 11 in my Sasso Div 1 days, and but those games had always been played at the old ground, and so this was my first visit to the new ground, and I was really impressed with it. Great little ground. I mean, everyone was packed underneath the main stand because of the inclement weather. But which amazingly just lifted as soon as Christian Verdicchio blew the final whistle. The weather cleared up, but no, a great little ground, great little atmosphere, and I must apologise to Phil Hall, the chairman. I thought his name was Phil Hall, and I was calling him Phil Hall all night, but it's Phil Hall, so I apologise for that, Phil. But he was a great host. Had a little VIP section for us where we actually we spent most of the time outside, to be honest, but we had a little section for us and some food and great little night out, and getting to chat with some of the players from both the WSL side, that's the Coast WSL side, not Adelaide United's WSL side, and Matt Canny obviously there as well. Just a great little night out on a Friday night. So yeah, thoroughly enjoyed it. What were your thoughts, Seb? You were impressed with it?
Yeah, no, it was really good. I mean, obviously, far for me was the main way. But no, it was really, really enjoyable. It was a very lovely place. I really quite liked, it was sort of how they explained Port Adelaide, how they've got the two pitches back to back, but you can sort of see both if you're inside the club room. I thought that's like such a cool thing to have, and just sort of be able to have almost both eyes on either side at any time. I think that was a really nice touch. And then I think the scaffold we were most smitten by I think as soon as we got there, as soon as we got out the car, we were like, "Oh, that's very nice."
Oh, I want to climb that. And I look up at it. Amazing. Oh, yeah. A thing of beauty.
They have actually just given a shout out to the Cove. They are big supporters and followers of One Game at a Time. They do love what we do, and are very quick to share on their socials, which they've done with that post about the game on last week. Seb, they've made sure they've got it out as well, which is fantastic. So massive shout out to the Cove and everything happening there. And then moving on to that was obviously Adelaide United were down your way, Seb.
Yes, they were.
Just last night, was it last night? They were playing Playford. So a nice short journey for you.
I know, it was really nice. Now, plenty of people there, very busy. It was just a good watch all in all. I think the main takeaway for me is that you would imagine that a lot of that crowd is probably Northern. And I suppose it's a similar conversation how you saw, I think Wrexham played Sydney FC last night. There was 40,000 there. And there's that many people that went to a game at Playford. And I think for me, it's, that's sort of that's in the realm of possibility that could happen. It's just, I'm not sure how you get to that for a regular season Playford game, because there's clearly people in the area that are watching football. I think that was the main takeaway with me, how many people were there, and it was all the way around too, like on the opposite side, which you probably see on camera, and then in the main stand, which is sort of at least on broadcast where you don't see. But yeah, it was just a good environment, good game too, very competitive. Few new players as well for Adelaide United. So yeah, and friends were there. Our good mate Jaden Benneman was on the line, so we were encouraging him. The whole time we were in front of him, giving him support, telling him all the.
Was that support or badgering him? I'm not sure which way.
Absolutely. If you asked him, he would absolutely say we supported him the whole way through. But no, it was a very good night last night. Very enjoyable.
Can I also just add from when we're down at Cove, I bumped into Owen Smith's father. So Owen Smith plays for the Cove. He was on the bench in their game against Salisbury, but came on. And I used to talk about feeling old. I used to play football against Owen Smith's father when Owen Smith's father played for the Cove in Sassel back in the 90s or the 2000s. But I couldn't understand a word he was saying because he's from Edinburgh, so he speaks funny.
Yeah. Good Scottish humour.
Yeah, exactly. I was just going to say it was interesting that we actually we discussed it off air, was about the captaincy for Adelaide United in that first game against Cove, which was Bart. Yeah, and then I noticed he had the armband again last night as well. And I just thought that by the looks of it, you're looking at Bart, Craig Goodwin, and Kiddo as your leadership group now that Zach Clough has left. And I have to admit, it's not a very impressive leadership group to have. You've got Kiddo, current captain, obviously, bags of experience. You've got Bart, played at top level in Holland, and you've got Goodwin, who's represented Australia and former captain. There's not many teams can probably say that that's their leadership group. It's looking very impressive for Adelaide United so far.
Yeah, and I think they're also the three probably oldest players. I think Bart would be the oldest, then Craig Goodwin, and then Ryan Kiddo. So makes sense in that aspect. And I think with Zach Clough, I don't think there's many players that would be probably much between the age of 24, 28, 29 maybe. I think it'd be a pretty big gap between those two, unless I'm forgetting someone that's Adelaide United, but it would be a pretty big gap. So, but no, very, very interesting. And yeah, all in all, good nights had across both, unless you have anything else to add, David, from either.
Nope.
Oh, they had a Wendy's there, which was great.
They did have a Wendy's there. I had Wendy's. It was very good.
Yeah, Wendy's hot dog. Well done.
Yeah. It was very, very good. I had a Wendy's hot dog and I had a banana smoothie, which was really, really good. Yep. So that was a big highlight of the night to have Wendy's. I really enjoyed that. Okay, well, on to competitive football. Saturday was Cup final day across the entirety of the day. It was a long day for some, but
not me.
Yeah, not you. Yeah, you must have had a lovely day. And David, you strolled in all nicely when your game was on. Would have been a nice morning you were able to have.
Yes, I did have. Yes. Yeah.
In the morning, I don't know. I was just making sure you had a nice morning. In the morning, the WSL and the WSL reserves, Jaguars versus Football SA. Football SA 4-0 winners there. And then the reserves men's Federation Cup ended in penalties, 2-2 at the end of extra time. And then Comets coming out 4-3 winners on penalties against Campbelltown City. And I suppose, of course, I guess we don't know too much about these reserve sides, but I suppose it's a good look into the future of both of these sides. I think it is a good indicator, I think, Mark, in general.
Oh, yeah, it certainly is a good indicator to see what they've got coming through. I know Campbelltown probably had a young lad by the name of Harvey Steele playing, who has made some first-team appearances for Campbelltown this year alone, and he's only young, but certainly one to keep an eye out on. I used to play football with his dad many years ago. Actually, he'll be playing, I think, this weekend in the Past Players Day, so catch up with him. But it's always a good indicator to see the talent that they've got coming through, especially how young they are. If there's any that are considerably a younger age bracket in the reserves, because they're the ones that you're sort of going, okay, if they're already playing reserves at a younger age and still eligible for the 18s, a good chance they got to make it, not maybe at Campbelltown or Comets, but at other clubs and things like that, certainly. So it is always a good indicator to see what young talent is coming through, and it's good to see. I mean, I've played in a cup final for reserves many years ago, and a few of those players went on to do some things, and others didn't, obviously, but that's the way football goes. So it is an indicator, a good show of some of the young talent.
I suppose, yeah, David, anything to add on that from you?
I went down and watched all of the second half of that reserves game, but really didn't absorb any of it because I got into conversation with Joel Porter when I was down there, and we were talking about Hartlepool in the northeast of England and the UK and his experience there. And I was really interested. It was really fascinating because I was asking him things like, how did you manage to get from Hartlepool, the northeast, down to an away game in Exeter? And it was all buses, he said. And I was totally absorbed in that conversation and didn't really take in any of the games, so I can't pass any comments. And if you asked Joel what he thought as well, he probably thought, oh God, here's this painful Scottish guy coming over. I must avoid eye contact at all costs, and oh no, he's seen me. So Joel wouldn't have seen much of the second half either.
Good to know. Good to know. So the two senior games for the entire weekend, starting with the WNPL WSL Cup final. Of course, me and you, David, were both of that. I probably didn't absorb it as much as you did, being on the sideline. But I guess from your perspective, as the highlights will roll in a second, how did you see it play out?
So I felt that Football NTC started the game quite well. I think the first 5-10 minutes or so they played arguably better possession football than their opponents in West Adelaide. I felt to begin with, NTC looked like they'd started the game in the same manner they'd played the first half the previous week. And for me, they were actually, I felt, maybe even the stronger of the two for that opening 5 or 10 minutes. I felt they did a really good marking job on Nicole Blackett and Nina Yamada. I felt that the two of them were sort of kept out of the game, really. NTC at the back were exemplary, especially the goalkeeper. What's her name again? It's completely forgotten. Yeah. She had an absolute blinder. And I think when they got to the break, I think they were probably feeling that, just continue a little bit like that through the second half and we might get something out of this because West Adelaide weren't at their best, I don't think, through that first half. It was interesting, though, in the post-game interviews when I was talking to some of the players and so on, they felt that they had a good game overall. Nina Yamada, as you can see there from that shot, it just wasn't clicking for her. I think she had a header, a shot, a header that went wide, a shot that went over, and another shot that hit the side netting. And she was certainly finding the places, the spots that she normally would. Look at this save, but just wasn't her usual clinical self. And then I think West Adelaide, as that first half wore on, just settled and then found their pros, if you like. And I think as the first half, drew to a close, as we see another uncharacteristic Nina Yamada miss there. I feel West Adelaide really started to find ascendancy as the first half sort of drew towards a conclusion. They, for me, as the halftime break loomed, were making better use of the space. They were using the wings better. But again, Yamada and Blackett, probably maybe their two most dangerous players, just weren't getting as much of the ball as they were probably hoping they would. It's hard to talk to highlights. I find it really difficult. So I'm not going to look at the screen. So the second half started, and this is where I feel West Adelaide just came into their own. Gemma McFarlane scored in about the 47th minute or 48th minute. It was a tap in from all of about 2 yards out, and I think both the defenders had been up for a corner from memory, and they just both had a poke at it. And Gemma's was the shot that went into the goal. And I think from that point on, I think that really took the wind out of the sails for NTC. They'd also at halftime brought on Grayson Bleschke. She'd been warming up separate to the team during the halftime break. And she had come on at the start of that second half, and unfortunately she didn't last long. She landed awkwardly on her shoulder. I haven't heard what happened to the shoulder. She tried to continue and did so for maybe 5 or 6 minutes, and then she had to come off, unfortunately. But I'm not sure why she wasn't on earlier. She coming back from injury. She has had an injury, hasn't she? So she's been out for a little while. So maybe that's why she didn't start. But she looked really good for the 5 or 6 minutes that she was on. But there's Jim McFarlane's goal again, and these highlights go for a long time, don't they? I'm just going to skip right towards the end there. So, eventually, I feel that as I mentioned before, I think the wind was taken out of NTC's sails when that first goal went in from Gemma McFarlane, and then if you wanted to show the goal that Lily DeCola scored at the end, so Lily DeCola had come on as a substitute maybe 10 minutes earlier, so across from Blackett into the middle. It bounced back, I think, came off Emma Ryan, came back down. Yeah, came back down, and then the Colas hit that. And, that camera angle doesn't give it justice. The technique she had, the placement, it was just a superb strike to the far post. And that was it. That was the 92nd minute, so it was all done and dusted there as a result of that. Look, I think over the 90 minutes, or the 92 minutes, or 93 minutes, West Adelaide were the better side. NTC started, I feel, the best. Their first 20 minutes was really good. I just felt they did a real job on Nina Yamada and Nicole Blackett, as I mentioned before. I was a little surprised either that Nicole Blackett was selected as player of the match. No disrespect to Nicole. Yeah, I heard she was a little bit surprised with that. But I just felt NTC did a great job defensively on both those two players who, coming forward, are probably West Adelaide most potent. Gemma McFarlane, I felt, had a great game, and I probably would have picked her in the top one, if that's Yeah, top one, I guess. Top one makes you the best. Yeah. I feel like I'm waffling now. I really get put off when those highlights come up. So, look, for me, I'll just a quick summary. For me, NTC started very well. They did a very good job on their most potent opponents through the first half. West Adelaide, I feel, found their feet after about half an hour or so. So the last 15 minutes or so of that first half, West Adelaide came into their own. Scored that early goal in the second half from Gemma McFarlane that really took the wind out of NTC's sails, I think, and it was an uphill battle for them from that point on. And they just got caught out at the end by a goal from Lily DeCola, which was really worthy of winning any cup.
Yeah.
And that was it, 2-0. I rest my case.
No, well done, David. I just want to say, I think it's a really good indication how the game's gone. When I just saw in the highlights, I think the face on Costa and Owen and Robson on the bench is more of I think relief. Like they're laughing and Costa's almost swearing under his breath. I think that tells the story almost entirely about sort of it's more like thank God, like it's finally sort of been put to bed. And
I think NTC gave them a run for their money. That first half, and the previous week they played each other in the league. Of course, that finished 3-1 to West Adelaide, but NTC through the first half were very good. So. They're certainly capable, but that's a very good West Adelaide side that they're playing against. It's just such a cohesive unit that that West Adelaide coaching staff have put together or built, if you like. And NTC did a job, like I mentioned, on those two players that I felt were probably going to be the biggest threat. It was interesting watching Nina Yamada. She's clever. Like the defensive players will pick her up. And then she'll just slowly drift off them, like any good striker would do. Just slowly drifts off one and then drifts into the middle between the two defenders. And then both defenders are looking at each other saying, am I picking her up or are you picking her up? And then one will make their way towards picking her up and then she just drifts off again. I mean, she's very clever off the ball, really. Hopefully she goes, beyond NPL. It'd be great to see her playing in the A-League, wouldn't it? Just
especially with a new United women's coach coming in, I'd imagine soon announced. Probably, especially looking in your own backyard, is not a bad place to go. And I think Nina Yamada certainly probably should be one of the targets. Being realistic,
except as long as they don't look at her shooting highlights reel from the game on Saturday.
From this game, every other game, absolutely.
Yeah. She just had an off day, but there was a shot to the side netting, one over the bar, the header's wide, and she just had an off day. But I think a lot of that's to the credit of NTC's back 4 or 3 when they were in possession.
Even with all that, next week she'll come back and score 6 or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm sure. At least I think in their case, at least they won. I think is the good thing to take away there.
Yeah.
I
was just gonna say, Seb, if I can say, I just wanted to talk about. There's 2 players in particular, and David, you covered one of them was who came off injured in that second half. What was her name again?
Grayson Blishke.
Oh, Grayson Blishke.
Yep. I haven't seen a lot of their gameplay. I've seen a few games of the Adelaide United women's team. The NTC, sorry. And been really impressed with her and Vichurek. I tell you what, if we're producing players like that, then and they continue, then Adelaide United got some really good talented players coming through the ranks and on their books. Because I tell you what, those two were very impressive against a very good West Adelaide side. And I know that both of them have been in the games they played, have been impressive throughout. But the one I did want to mention, and David, you've mentioned her already, was the goalkeeper in Meleg. She was fantastic. If it wasn't for her, I think then West Adelaide could have actually blown that out at times, that result. But she made some outstanding saves. But it wasn't just her saves that impressed me, actually. There was times she was coming out for crosses and in a crowded box, and she was there and claiming it clean as a whistle. And I was just like, that's impressive. The distribution was good. And I tell you what, she's one for the future. She's a goalkeeper for the future. If she continues the way she's going, then she should be A-League or WA League, Women's A-League. And I think also if again, taking the next step from there, she could go on to big things. I think was so impressed with the way she played.
Yeah.
So I'm really glad you brought that. Sorry, Steb. Really glad you mentioned that, Mark. I've got the teams in front of me now. I didn't have it before because I wasn't prepared. But Ilona Ilona Melee, I believe the GH is silent, was outstanding through the game. I mean, she kept the score at nothing each as right up until half time. She had a good second half as well. Erin Murphy at the other end of the ground, and I mentioned this in my post-match interview with Kosta Jaric. I think Erin Murphy at the other end of the ground was probably the quietest player in the park. But that doesn't mean that NTC weren't making inroads into that final third. When they got to that final third, the final shot just wasn't coming. But a lot of that's to the credit of the West Adelaide defence as well. And Gemma McFarlane is key in that. So I would have Melee in my top 3. I would have McFarlane in my top 3. And there were plenty of other, sterling performances from the likes of Shan Dewey, Miley Grigg as well in that NTC side. And Blackett came into her own in the second half, I felt. Macri was good, Wright was good. I mean, it was a bit of an ensemble cast, if you like, but certainly for NTC, Melee was a standout, and for West Adelaide, McFarlane was a standout.
Yeah, but it just I think that really highlights the talent that SA is producing. That it's such a testament to what McKelly's doing there with that team, because that's fantastic.
I was just say, going back to that point, Meleg had her A-League Women's debut this
year
against Victory.
Yeah.
So already has that under her belt. And then I think, just going back to that point, I think it also, you mentioned Victorek and Blishki. It is almost becoming a bit of, I mean, I'm reasonably quite young, so I guess the history is not there for me, but this is probably a very high point, I think, for women's football in South Australia. The United women's team is doing well. The NTC team for the past couple of years have been either making grand finals or at least been in that final spots or cup finals. And then, like I said, you've got the players coming through, people like Claudia Jenkins, coming through and making playing for the New Zealand national team. I really do think this is a very big point for women's football in South Australia in general, just as a general point.
Yeah, I mean, SA's produced... Oh, go on, David.
No.
I was just going to say, SA have produced women's footballers for a long time, but we've never produced... I don't think we've ever produced on such a grand scale where we've been able to put out such good teams. And I'm going back to the likes of Christy Moore many, many years ago, who represented Australia. Alagic, who's represented Australia. So we've produced players who have gone on to do great things. And there's two of them that just come off the top of my head. Yep. But I don't think we've produced as such a large array and team of players. And I think you're right there, Seb. It's great to see. And like I said, I think the program and Michele Listella is doing a great job.
And even Adrian Stenter as well, with being in the head coach there as well. Those two in tandem, I think, have worked brilliantly together. Sorry, David, you go.
I was just going to add that. I was just going to commend Michele Listella and his staff on what they've done there with that team. And I did actually go over to the bench after to, just offer a bit of commiserations. I don't know what the word is, because I'd really admired what they'd done this year, and I felt, when you look back on it, you go, West Adelaide won the cup, West Adelaide won this and that, and you start to forget those other teams that are around about that were doing, not just as well because they haven't won the cup, but not far off it, and the effort and so on that's gone in. And in the future, when we see these players moving into playing in the A-League, I mean, and we hopefully see some of them playing for the Matildas, don't forget where they started and who brought them there, and it's the likes of Listella and these people that have worked their arses off, if that's the right term, to develop these players and give us players that we can be proud of and hopefully see playing in green and gold in the not too distant future.
Yeah, I think, plenty of positives, I think, is the main thing to take away from Saturday, from both, I guess, the current and the future of women's football here. I think it was really, really good to see.
Yeah.
We will go on to the Men's Federation Cup final, Metro versus Adelaide Croatia Raiders. I was commentating. In all honesty, I was knackered. I was so tired by the time the game came around. So that's my excuse if I sounded tired in commentary or it wasn't enjoyable. So that my apologies there. But no, a very good game, a very good atmosphere. Did either of you see it in full? Just checking.
I'll be honest, I went to the rugby union after it to see the British and Irish Lions, and I haven't seen any of it.
Have you seen the goals at least?
I saw Visser's goal.
Okay, Mark.
So I missed that game as well. I was celebrating my mum's 70th birthday with a family dinner. So happy birthday, mum. Hey. So I missed the game. I did see Visser's goal. I did see Windsor's goal. And I saw what else did I see? I saw part of Hamish Gower's interview. So that's all I've seen.
Basically, you and I, Mark, could probably just sign out now in the unprofessional way that we can, and we'll leave you set for the next 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's worrying when you're leaving the football talk to me. And you know, the worst thing is, even if Alessio was here, I don't think he saw the game either. So I would have been completely stranded. So I'll try my best to sort of, I guess, talk somewhat through it. Probably to start with, Metro had instead Lachlan. I'm very loud there. Had the largest share of the possession and probably the attacking charges forward. And then you saw there was this burst, and I mean, this is just a phenomenal goal from Thomas Visser. And I think, I guess the question to you, Mark, the goalkeeping. It's not really a question.
I knew you were going to ask that.
I think it's not really a goalkeeping error. I think it's more Visser. I don't know how he's done it, but he's managed to loop it over. And I don't think many goalkeepers are probably prepared for a shot like that when it's going over and under you. I mean, is there a different way you would have approached that, or is it sort of just that is unbeatable there?
No, look, I feel for Barbara. I think the fact, look, it was very central, went straight over him, but I think that this has just hit it that well. He's also only 18 yards out. When he finally hits this ball, he's just on the 18-yard box. Vinny Burrows, he's off his line. He's trying to cover his angles well. He's trying to make him something less to shoot at. He's trying to make himself as big as possible. So when Visser looks up, he's only going to see that goalkeeper. And it's just, look, you get Visser to try that another 100 times. He's probably not hitting it 90 of those times. You know what I mean? It's one of those that he's caught it sweet. He's caught it right. And I just, even though it has gone straight over Burrow, I still don't think many keepers. The only thing I think that would be any different is if there was a taller keeper. And Barbaro's no short goalkeeper at all. But the only thing I think is if someone like a Godley who is 6'5", or a Dakota Oshenham who's 6'27" or whatever he is, and a John Hall who's again 7'54" or whatever it is,
all on top of each other.
Then it's a different sort of aspect. But I just think maybe just the fact that Burrow is probably just not as tall as those guys. I think that's probably the only thing I can think of.
Yeah,
do you not think
but you got to give Visser the credit. Beautifully hit. So
yeah. When he started that run, he's probably just jinked his way past a couple of players, and then when he skipped through, I think it's the second challenge. Which, I mean, the challenges for me were maybe a little bit lacking. They weren't convincing. I mean, I know he's in the penalty box and they're worried about fouling him there, but once he's got that jinking run going, he's only got one thing in his mind, hasn't he?
Yeah.
And if you've beaten two players at this level, and you've left them for dry, then you're probably thinking, I'm amazing. I'm gonna have a shot.
Oh, mate.
I mean, just give you confidence.
Do you know what? As a coach, if I was watching him make that run and he didn't shoot, I'd probably be disappointed that he didn't shoot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, to be honest, he's beaten three players. He's drawn the fourth in for the block. He's got half a yard to hit. And if he didn't hit, then you'd be like, well, why didn't you hit it? Because he might have passed it off. Then they go on and miss. It's like, what, mate? You've just done an amazing run. Just hit it, and he did. So as a coach, mate, if I was coaching, I'd be like, mate, have the hit. Like, you've done everything right. You might as well go for it. There's no harm, because if you look at it, all the other players in that area that were close in the area were all marked already. So he was only playing it back.
It's quite a curl on it as well. Don't forget that. So that, the goalkeeper's also got that to contend with. So the ball's coming towards him, but it's not coming straight towards him. It's good. It's flinging out and then it's turning back in, and it's dipping. So when you've got all of that to contend with, I don't think the goalkeeper can be held too accountable for it. I think
not at all.
Maybe he should have got a hand to it, but I don't think it's. I think the shot's too good.
Like I said, unless you're someone that was, like I said, ridiculously tall, and very agile as well, then you're not gonna not going to have much of a chance. It would have been one hell of a save if he'd have managed to save it. That's for sure. It would have been save of the week.
And then if he'd saved it, everyone would be saying to Visser, why didn't he hit that low to the far post?
Yeah.
Well, and then not long after that goal, Cameron Woodfin, a minute after, got one back. And it probably wasn't where the game was in that point, where probably neither side, like even if Croatia did it, it probably wouldn't have been deserved either way. Probably maybe Metro Stars being in front at that point, but probably not by 2 goals. I think was a bit unexpected, a bit shocking. I think for the current for the run of play that was in the game at that time. And then it was sort of more of just a fact of, I think the more the first half went on was, I think we even said it in commentary, me and Tom, was do Croatia sort of just hold this until halftime and they can regroup, or do they continue to try on? And I mean, you'll see in a moment, I'm not sure when the highlight's coming up, but the goal that they do end up getting, I will try and get it up in the moment because it's taking its time. Just the way, and it was the way that it went in too. It was a brilliantly hit free kick, and I even said it in commentary. It's 2 weeks in a row that Metro have been beaten from a free kick, even last week with George Blackwood and Burkalla. And I think before the half, it was probably what the game and the crowd needed to get back more alive. And even the Croatian support. I think, David, last time they had a big game there, from my memory, me and you was both commentating it, that State League 1 grand final against Para Hills. The game itself was phenomenal, but the crowd was it was one of my favorite games to commentate ever, I think, in my opinion, because it was such a good game. There was drama the whole way through, and the crowd from both the Croatian and Para Hills side, but I guess here we're talking about the Croatian, was just phenomenal.
Yeah, reminiscent of the kind of atmosphere you might get at a European game, and it certainly adds to the event, the spectacle, if you like. It's not quite a Rangers Celtic tie, if you like, but there's an element of that there, and I'm all for it. I think that that culture that we get in the game is just nothing but a positive. I mean, I know that we've had issues in the past or whatever, but it just creates to the atmosphere, and when they come in with that big red and white checkered flag, and it takes 4 guys to hold it as they wave it. That's just phenomenal in itself, So brilliant atmosphere. These crowds just do such a good job, I think, and they're very proud and rightly so. But it certainly helps with the atmosphere, doesn't it? No doubt about it.
Absolutely, and certainly I think gets you in the mood more, especially when you're commentating. And then the final goal, probably one of the easiest that Owen Windsor had to do, pretty much came from a mistake, and nothing really could be stopped. Just cleared into own defender and easily enough put through for Owen Windsor to I think at that point felt and was a finisher by that point. But again, it was probably, I guess, even when you look not that far ago compared to Lily DeCola's goal, that being a cup-winning goal sort of felt a bit anticlimactic. But at the end of the day, I think it is probably for Metro the start of what we spoke about it last week as well. What needs to be a big season for them? They have the possibility of competing on so many fronts at the moment. They're a couple points clear of the league. If they win the league, Australian Championship, they have an Australia Cup game in a few weeks' time, and then obviously, league title and grand final. So it is probably, I think, the minimum that they needed to win this cup. And then I guess on the other side for Croatia, they still have the Australia Cup game to look forward to, and a league season, which they're still battling to stay up. I guess, Mark, your general thoughts on going into the future for both of these sides as well.
Well, for Metro, it is. I think it's just a tick box for them in the fact that that's the first one they had to do. They had to win that. They check that off. They now move on to the next one, which will be making sure they win minor premiership. They check that off. The next one will be obviously the next cup round, should I say, in the Australia Cup. They've got to check that off. So they'll be working through that checklist, and that was their first one on that run. And they went into it favourite, so everyone sort of picked them to win. Just want to say that last goal for the final goal for Metro, I kind of feel for Raiders in the fact that it kind of. I would have seen that goal. I would expect to see that goal from them about 6 weeks ago for Raiders, clearing it into their own defender and setting the other team up. That was the kind of run they were having. But of late, you don't see that because they've been in good form of late. They've won a couple of games, drawn one. So they've had to sort of they've done really well the last few weeks to get themselves closer to safety. So that goal was a little bit of a chink in their armor of late, because like I said, that I'd expect to see when they're sitting bottom of the table. The luck isn't running your way. That's that type of goal. But they can take a lot out of that game. They can take a lot out of the last few games, and they've got a real good chance of staying up now. They've just got to continue that form that they've had in the league the last few weeks. And like I said, losing to Metro 3-1, and I did read somewhere that it was a 2-minute window or 3-minute window where they conceded 2 quick goals. And that's what they say is the likely time you're going to concede is straight after you've already conceded. So, and that's what happened. I think if they'd have gone in at 1-0, it would have been a different story. Or like I said, it could have been a different story, but they've got a lot to take out of it. One thing that did not fascinate me, but interested me was Torriani was wearing the armband with Costa unavailable. So that did surprise me a little bit, because I didn't realise he was in that leadership group. But what a player to have as a vice captain when Costa's not there, and great player. So it'd be again a leader as well amongst the likes of Noel Blazeka, who young but he wears his heart on his sleeve for that club, and is a leader. Might not be a talking leader. I'm not 100% sure on what he's like in the change rooms, but he's certainly a leader by example. And so is the likes of Torriani, and Costa then is a different type of captain. So they've got some great positives for Raiders, and like I said, they've got a good chance of staying up now that they've got themselves close to that safety threshold.
David, just to finish off on the cup final, your general thoughts on it?
Well, I didn't see it, so I can't give any more thoughts on it. But just to continue on what Mark was saying there, I think Raiders now must be looking. I mean, I know they're still in the Australia Cup, but they're probably more focused. I would think they're more focused on NPL survival. The Australia Cup's there to be enjoyed, but they're probably not going to win it, and therefore NPL survival must surely be their primary aim. I like watching them. Even when we did that State League One game the other year when they were coming up, Seb, I really enjoyed that event. And as we mentioned before, they're a good team to watch. I even like the kit, for goodness sake, and I'm not even fussed on kits. So NPL survival must surely be their primary focus now. And would they even be that bothered if they get knocked out in the Australia Cup in the next round? Maybe not. I don't know, but that's got to be the primary focus in that, and I hope they stay up. But then I hope all 12 teams stay up. I don't want to see anyone go down. So expose it. But just a quick one on Metro Stars, exciting time for them, isn't it? Really, and when you talk to the players or you see them in the tunnel or whatever, they're just, you can tell that they're just buzzing, So I'm delighted for them too, and Danny as well, and their achievements this year. That's, as we said before, that's the cup done. They've got another couple of targets to aim for, and they look good for it. Can't believe I backed Croatia in the final. Don't know what I was thinking.
But no, a very good day had, and very, very enjoyable, some good games. Finishing off, as always, our predictions. Nothing much changed from last week. I think the only one that got wrong was David with Croatia, but I don't know how much changed the table. So we'll find out more from next week from Alessio, but we'll do our predictions and then we'll play Alessio's after. Okay, State League 2, Adelaide Atletico versus Salisbury Inter.
I'm just bringing
Adelaide
up the ladder.
3-2 Adelaide Atletico.
Okay.
Are you recording these, Seb?
Yeah, I was. I forgot to, and then I was like, "Oh yeah, I should." I'm gonna go for a Salisbury Inter 2-0.
I think I'll go for Salisbury Inter as well. 3-2.
Same as Mark, but the opposite. All right, in the south,
the same, isn't it?
Same, but different.
Yeah, got you.
Yeah. In the south, the big one, Hills Hawks versus Mount Barker United.
Just to keep Alessio happy, Adelaide Hills 14-1. No, I'm only kidding. I'm going to go a 2-2 draw.
Okay.
It's at Woodside, isn't it?
Yes.
At the Hawks, yeah. I'm going to go for a draw as well. I'm going to go 1-0.
I'm going to go for a Mount Barker 2-1 win.
See, this is where we influence each other, isn't it? Maybe I should go for a Hawks win and then it's different. No, I'll stick with what you've said, David.
You don't, Alessio has predicted against Mount Barker before. I think in a Hills derby, so you never know what Alessio is going to pick.
I'll go for a Hawks win, 2-1. Then it's different.
Okay. That is officially changed for you. In the WSL, Western Strikers versus Modbury Jets. I'm going to go for a Modbury Jets 2-0 win.
I'll go for a Western Strikers 2-0 win.
In that case, I'm going a 2-2 draw.
Yeah.
Then in State League 1, South Adelaide versus Salisbury United at South Adelaide. I'm going to go in almost Salisbury fashion, 6-5. No, I'm going to go 3-2 to Salisbury.
I'm going to go for a draw. I'll go 3-3 draw.
Should have gone 6-6. Mark, what are you going to do this week with South Adelaide?
Well, they've been on a run.
They have.
Yeah, they have.
They've been on a run, that's for sure. I'm going to go a 4-4 draw, just for the sake of it.
Well, I think you probably could be right, to be honest. In the WMPL, Adelaide Uni versus Flinders United. Pretty important in terms of, I guess, the likelihood of being in that relegation battle. I think on current form, I'm going to go Flinders.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go Flinders as well. I'll go Flinders 3-2.
I'm going to go 4-2 Flinders. You said 3-2.
Yep.
Mark.
I'll go 3-3 draw.
Okay. And
I want goals.
Yeah, clearly this week. And then in the men's MPL, West Torrens Burkalla versus Adelaide United.
I want goals, 6-6. No, actually, I'm actually on this game.
Are you not gonna say
Burkalla and who?
Adelaide United. You should know, considering it's in about 2 nights' time and you're on.
I knew it was Burkalla because I knew that I was like, I've got the Sunday night game at Burkalla because that's the one I normally do.
I'm going to go for an Adelaide United win 3-1.
I'm going to... I don't know. These are really hard. I'm going to go for Adelaide United. I'm going to go for Burkalla. I'll go Burkalla 2-1.
So I'm just looking at the ladder. I'll go 4-2 Adelaide United.
Okay. As always, our predictions will be available tomorrow morning. But if you are listening this not live, they're probably already out there. So have a look at those for the rest of our predictions. Shall we see what Alessio has to say?
Yeah, let's see what he's got. Come on.
All right. I'm going to guess he's still in his car.
And in terms of the all-important predictions, I mean, we didn't have much to add on from last week, so the tally stays about the same and all of us gained 1 point except for David, who did go for the upset Raiders win. But nobody predicted the correct scoreline of 3-1 to Metro Stars, so no perfect scorelines there. For the games this week, though, that I'm predicting for, and then you'll see the rest of the ones after that, there's a couple of big ones. Atletico versus Garn. Atletico on a big tear in the State League 2 North. Had quite a good few results recently, and Garn losing some players and losing some points. I think they've just slipped a bit. And for me, it's a 3-0 Atletico. Easy win at home there for Atletico as well. The big one in the hills here where I am, around the corner, 5 minutes one way is Barker, 5 minutes the other way is Adelaide Hills Hawks. And it's another version of the Hills Derby, sorry. And interesting stat line that I had thought about before this game, and just thinking about my time here in the Hills for Barker, and obviously they've only played each other before I came, only a couple of times in the league when they were still both in the 3rd division. But to my knowledge and to my research, Barker, all 3 grades, have never beaten Hills Hawks at the Hawks Nest. So it's a big one coming this week with obviously the first team of Barker coming off an amazing win against Eastern United. The reserve team in a 3rd place position, looking to secure finals in the last couple of games against a highly sought after Hawks reserves team who's been one of the benchmarks in State League 2 reserves for the last couple of years. And of course, the 18s is a big gap difference. I mean, our 18s are bottom, and I think theirs are probably 2nd or maybe 3rd as well. So I'm not sure if it will happen in that game, but could be a good side of history if one of the 3 Barker teams can finally beat Hawks at the Hawks Nest. I think it'll be a big thing to happen. So I'm going to go in there as well with a 2-1 Mount Barker seniors win. I won't give you the reserves one because we don't predict that, and hopefully you have a happy me next week on the podcast. But for the seniors, 2-1 Barker I'm going. In the WSL, Western Strikers versus Modbury Jets, I'm going 4-2 to the Jets. In the WMPL, Flinders Uni, have been on quite a good couple of games, and it's the Uni Derby there. I don't know how much they have it. I remember talking to some people saying that the Uni SA versus Adelaide Uni Derby back in State League 2 was an interesting one. Wasn't that fiery like those ones you see in college football in America, but I think this one's going to go the way of Flinders, keeping the spark alive for individual unis, you could say. With Adelaide Uni maybe have to change their name, or I don't know what they're going to do next year, but I'm going the way for the Greens, the Flinders Uni, 2-1 win for Bacala and Adelaide United youth team. I think it's going to be an interesting one, with Adelaide United, of course, playing their pre-season friendlies, using most of their MPL players, playing last Friday night and then just last night, Tuesday. They're going to find it tough, but I think Bacala are a really tough side to play against as well. I'm only going to go for a 3-1 Adelaide United win in that one. And then in the State League 1, it's a massive week for the South, with Sturt having the chance to get promoted if results go their way earlier in the day. And I think I was talking to their coach as well during this week, and he said it's the perfect time, 5 p.m. for us. We couldn't have chosen it better. Some of the players are a bit annoyed that they have 5 p.m. home games because they say, I want to have my Saturday nights. But fortunately for them, they're going to be able to see at least maybe 75 minutes in of what the 3 p.m. games are to see if they only need a win or not, or they need a draw, or if the other team's lost or draw. So in the game that is going to decide a lot of that, Salisbury versus South Adelaide, I'm going to go the upset, and that is for Mark Talbot, the South 3-2 win for South. So sorry, Seb, and sorry, Salisbury, but I'm going to go 3-2 South, and you'll see my prediction later for that Cove West Adelaide game, who's got another implication into this Sturt title win, but it's going to be massive for the South. And of course, the Sturt game is against Cumberland as well, one of their southern rivals, who's pipped them from promotion in previous years. In the MPL, when they were playing against each other, it was always a tight contest. So I'm keen for this week in the South and in the Hills. It's just derbies all around, and then it's concluded with the Uni Derby in the WMPL. So hopefully you guys have a good podcast tonight. Hopefully I'll join you next week as well. And hopefully this weekend goes well and the predictions go well as well. Cheers, lads.
Thank you for that, as always, Alessio.
Hopefully I join you next week as well. He wasn't here.
Yeah, like he joined us in pre-record.
I'm going to say my favourite quote tonight was George earlier on when he finished up by saying, "And that's how I became a pirate." Oh, that was a cracker.
Yeah.
Yes. All done for another week. Thank you as always, David and Mark, Alessio. we imagine we'll be back next week. Anything to finish off from either of you?
Do you want to know what my record of the week is?
Oh, yes, please, as always.
Can you recognise that, actually? The cover's quite...
I'm trying to...
Is that Jim Morrison?
No.
Half of it is covered by an iron brew, so
I'll remove the iron brew.
I can't see that far.
Yeah,
it's a long way from Seaford to Mount Barker.
It is summer of 1984, the classic single and first solo venture by George Michael.
Oh,
Careless
wow.
Whisper.
Nah, I could just see the hair.
Yeah. I don't know what he's looking at.
Yeah, God knows.
I'm not sure what he's looking at. Something up there anyway, bothering him. Anyway, George Michael, Careless Whisper, single of the week.
Good pick. Very, very good pick. Thank you for that as always, David. Mark, anything from you?
No, just I'll take up Alessio as usual, which is get out to games, watch on YouTube, get out there and watch the local games and get out there and try and, like I said, watch them, interact, and interact with us as well. If you see us out, say hello, shout out. It's one game at a time. You know how it is, and that's all from me. Seb, I'll leave it up to you for the rest of it.
No, that's
Thankfully said.
Oh yes,
that's the point, Mark. A few people did come up to us at the Cove on Friday night and introduce themselves and so on. That was really cool. So that was really good to know that people are out there and listening and so on. So yeah, just to echo what Mark said, come up and say hello.
No, absolutely. Yeah, really appreciate the support as always. Yeah, make sure to like and follow and all that sort of stuff. Support us if you can. Very much appreciated. But yeah, all done for another week. Thank you as always. Looking forward to next week. League football back. Cup is done. And I guess the next big event is the grand finals / finals in general. So very much looking forward to that. More than usual due to State League 2 finals format. So we'll have a double grand final in State League 2. So that's
a convoluted system that it is.
Yeah, your favourite, Mark. And David, both of you.
I have no idea how it works.
But I thank you for joining us for another week. Always appreciated. We'll be back next week with another guest, we'd imagine. But no, yes. Thank you as always. See you next week. Enjoy your football. Enjoy your weekend. And see you next time. Alex Mullen to make it 3-1 in the grand final. Puts in the penalty and wins the grand final for Campbelltown City.
No one attacks it. Comes back off the Menendez. It's the goal. It's top. Oh! And then Talisman's got another one.
Adelaide City back quick.
Jay King. Oh, what a shot! My goodness me. Can't teach that sort of stuff. Sends it in. Keeps it low. And it's gone in. It's gone in. Adelaide Uni have scored in time added. Tries to get under control, and the shot from Tolland. Salisbury into a 2-0 up.
Still Butler with another chance. It's 3-1 to Playford. Persistence has paid off for Playford.
One touch the keeper, puts it into the bottom corner. Beach gives him a shoulder after that as well. He's lost his clean sheet, and he's lost his head with a red card. David, this is massive.
Skills to make the girls sing and the geezers too. Yeah, we're doing this thing.